Alright, welcome. Now we are continuing with sets, and we are going to treat properties or rules of sets. Now, if you want to understand sets very well, then you need to know the properties. How best do you know the properties of sets so that you can be able to solve any question given to you under sets? So let's see the first property. Now, the first property we have square root of a times square root of a. Now, if you see something like this, square root of a times square root of a, it's very, very simple to note that. Now, this a and this a, they are the same. This a and this a, they are the same, which is called the radicand. The radicand. So they are called radicand. And the root sign is called the radical. The radical. So if I say radicand, you should know what I mean by radicand. Then radical, you should know what I mean by what? Radical. So let's see. Let me clean it nicely. Then we have this off. Now, this a and this a, that's the radicand. If they are the same, then you have the whole of that, it will multiply. A times a. And a times a, you have a times a, you have a squared. A squared. And square root of a squared, don't forget, this square will take away the square root so that you have a. So which means that if I give you something like this, an example, let's see, square root of 2 times square root of 2. It's best you say 2. It's best you say what? 2. If I give you square root of 3 times square root of 3, it's best you say what? 3. Because square root of 2 times square root of 2, that's 2 times 2 is 4. You just bring the square root so that you have square root of 4 to give us what? 2. So it's very, very best when you see square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. Make sure that the radicand are the same. Then you have what? A. Now, if you have square root of 16 times square root of 16, you just see what? 16. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. So, square root of a times square root of a is just a. Let's see the next property. Now, we still go. Square root of a times square root of b. Square root of a times square root of b. Square root of a times square root of b. Now, the radicand and this radicand, they are different. They are different. So we can see that the answer is just AB. No, the answer is not AB. See what we do here. Now, since A and B are different, but here lies the case, they are all in the same root sign. They are all in the same root sign. And the same root sign will mean what? Square root. So, because they are all in the same root sign, we can multiply. So, we put them in one root sign. Because they are all in the same root sign, you can multiply them. If they are not in the same root sign, then we have a different approach here. Because they are in the same root sign, we can multiply. So, we have square root of AB. That's our answer, square root of AB. Let's see an example here. Let's see if I have square root of 2 times square root of 3. 2 and 3, that's the radicand. They are different. And because they are in the same root sign, we can multiply. So that we have 2 times 3, and 2 times 3, we obtain 6. That's square root of 6. Let's see the second one. Let's see square root of 6 times square root of let's say 2. Now, square root of 6 and square root of 2. They are in the same root sign. That square root we can multiply, which will have 6 times 2. And 6 times 2, you obtain square root of 12. That's square root of 12. Now, let's see how best we can simplify square root of 12. If you don't understand, please play back the video for better understanding. Now, square root of 12, I've done that in my previous video, how to simplify a set. We have to get two numbers. When you multiply, you get 12, and one of the numbers should be a perfect square. So, we will get, let's see, that's 4 times 3. 4 is a perfect square. So, we split square root of 4 times square root of 3. And what's square root of 4? 2. So 2 times 3, and we get 2 root 3. Let's see in our next property. Now let's see this. Square root of A all over square root of B. Square root of A all over square root of B. Now for this, we are dividing sets, and when it happens like this, we can write it as square root of A all over B. This is how we can write it. Mind you, for multiplication too, we can do that, which is root A times square root of B. We can write it as what? Root A times what? B. This is how we can write it. But for multiplication, for addition or subtraction, we can do it like that. Root A plus square root of B. This is not the same thing as root A plus B. Take note of that. Square root of A plus square root of B is not the same thing as A plus B then in one square root. No. The same thing applies to subtraction. If I have root A minus root B, it's not the same thing as root A minus what? B. They are not the same. Take note of that. They are not the same. So it's different. So now let's concentrate on our division we have here. Let's concentrate on our division. So now, square root of A divided by square root of B can be written as what? A over B, then in one what? Square root. So an example we can have, let's see, square root of 9 out of 16. And this is the same thing as square root of 9 all over square root of what? 16. And square root of 9, we have 3 out of square root of 16, which is what? 4. We can have this one, square root of, let's see, 36 all over square root of 49. We can have square root of 36, which is 6, all over square root of 49, which is 7. You can just take the whole of that 36 out of what? 49. Then you take which will get the same answer. Which will get the same answer. Now let's see our fourth property. Now for this we have A square root of B times square root of C. A square root of B times square root of C. When it happens like this, this A, that's the coefficient of square root of B. The coefficient of square root of B is A. Now the coefficient of square root of C is 1. The coefficient of square root of C is 1. The coefficient of square root of B is A. Now since this A is not inside a square root, 1 is not inside a square root, they multiply. So we get A times what? 1 in brackets. Now square root of B, square root of C. B and C, they are in the same square root. They also multiply. So we have B times C. A times 1, we have A. Then we have B times C, which is BC. So we get A times square root of BC. So A square root of what? BC. Very, very simple. Let's see an example here. If you have 3 square root of 2 times square root of 3. 3 is not inside square root. We have an invisible number here, which is 1. It's not inside. So 3 will multiply 1. We get